and welcome back, my fairies. I am Matsuyorific, and we are back with another episode of Miraculous Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir. This is episode 11. This is Pretension, or not 11. This is episode 19 as Pretension. Oh, I wish 11 was out. I wish Deflagration was out. This is episode 19, Pretension, and yeah, it's another episode that is airing out of order, but we've at least seen the episode before this one, because before this was Emotion, which was the episode where Felix returns and we see his super hero villain, his vigilante costume and name and all that, with the Peacock Miraculous. And, yeah, so this is after he made everyone but Adrien and Kagami disappear, and he thought Marinette, but he doesn't know that she's Ladybug, and he made her disappear. But, he knows he was wrong now, and he's gotta figure out another way to save himself, Adrien, and Kagami. Whatever that means. I just hope that it doesn't mean they're all three Centimonsters, because honestly, like, I was saying before how I just don't want Adrien and Kagami to be Centimonsters, but I'm okay with Felix. Another big reason of that, because I was thinking about it last night, another reason why I don't want all three of them to be Centimonsters is because that seems kind of forced to have all three of them be Centimonsters. It's like, why are all it's like, that's too many people that you know, have their own lives and go to school and everything to be Centimonsters, or Centibeings. That's too many Centibeings all at once, to be revealed all at once. It's like, there's enough shock factor with just one person being a Centibeing. We don't need three all at once to be revealed to be Centibeings. So I am really hoping that Felix is the only Centibeing. I mean, with the whole thing at the very, very end of last episode, it does make sense. With him going, oh yeah, the three of us were all Centibeings, and that's why I want to save us from being controlled, and I only left Marinette because of how important she is to Adrien, and I know she actually cares about him because of what she told me when she thought I was Adrien. It's like, oh, she actually does care. She's a good person. I'll keep her around because she is good for Adrien. Which is, I do at least like that he approves of Marinette for Adrien. It's like, you are a good person. You care about my cousin. I will keep you. It's like, aw, that's actually kind of sweet. Just don't tell him about the cringy season 2 and 3 stuff. Or the cringy first 3 season stuff where she sniffs his pillow and steals his phone and somehow gets a hold of his schedule for the next 3 years that not even his best friend knows because it's private. They acknowledged it. They confirmed that it was not right. She is understanding that it wasn't right. It is time to move on. Okay. For those of you who don't know how these reviews work, I do this little intro part where I talk about what we already know about the episode, and what's happened beforehand before going to actually watch the episode. And of course, you've got, normally there's art over here on the side here, but unfortunately, my tablet's still broken, so more Rise of the Sphinx game footage over here. I'm working on making like a full cutscene movie with all the dialogue from when you actually play through, because Ladybug and Cat Noir have their own like dialogue scenes out in the overworld, and we do need to replay that soon on stream because they've added some stuff that I noticed while I was recording that. So yeah, I hope you guys look forward to that soon. I'm not sure when, because I gotta make sure my hand's not going to be a problem. But, yeah, look forward to that soon. And for now, I am going to go watch this episode, and then I will come back and tell you guys what I think. All right, so that was definitely an interesting episode and a lot of really good moments too. Oh my goodness, we will get to this scene later, but there's this one scene in particular. First off, let me just say that my mother is a lot better now, but when I was younger, there were a lot of issues with my relationship with my mom. She was actually kind of toxic and, would put me down and, compare me to my siblings and just make me feel worthless. And I wish I could have said the things to her that somebody said to Gabriel earlier in this episode, but we will get to that. So the episode starts off with Marinette talking with Adrian in the car and proving once again that George is the best adult figure in Adrian's life right now, because they're talking about how, they're gonna meet up after Adrian's fencing practice because they've got like 3 minutes and so many seconds to be able to be together before Adrian has to go home. And Adrian's like, besides, no one will tell him that we met. And, well, because she's talking about, maybe I should wear a costume. He's like, no, nobody's going to tell him that we met up. And then he looks at George, and George just gives him a smile, like, yeah, I got your back, fam. I got you, boy. It's like, I love George. He's too much of a good character not to have a proper name. Dang you, Zag. Oh my goodness. So then we get to a really big scene where it looks like they're trying to cure the cataclysm, and oh my goodness, it has spread so far. It's gotten to, let's see here, see if I can show this off with the avatar. It's gotten to basically this part right here. Everything from here all the way down to the end of his arm is just black from cataclysm. And like, it is definitely over his heart, and he does not, clearly he doesn't have much time left. And like they're using the power of the Kwamis to reduce it down, and it works at first, but then the machine breaks and it just goes back to where it was. And the Kwamis basically tell them, yeah, see, we told you that you couldn't reverse this. And basically says that he wasn't trying to completely reverse it, he just needed to give himself time so he could have more time to get the miraculous back and make his wish. And then Tomoe comes along and is like, you're forgetting, all these sentiments about saving yourself and your wife and Natalie. You're forgetting the real picture. And it's about getting, we're connected and so are our children. And you're giving Adrian too much freedom. Not like me. I've got full control over my daughter. She's perfect. Your son is the wild card. And Gabriel's like, don't worry, I'll get the miraculous and we'll have control over our children. I promise. It's like, you two are both awful parents. And I know I mentioned my mom earlier. She was not this bad, but we will get to that later. So Marinette meets up with them at school, and apparently while they were at their fencing practice, because now they're coming out of fencing, apparently during that time period, she convinced herself that it was time to talk to Gabriel, and she's like, I've got the courage. We're gonna go talk to him. We're gonna make this right. And they go to talk to Gabriel, and I knew something was wrong as soon as he greeted them both with a smile. It's like, oh, that smile is never a good thing. And then he tells Adrian to go to his room, and Adrian is like freaking out, like, no, I'd rather be here with Marinette. No, Adrian, I really think you should go to your room. I would like to talk to Marinette alone. It's like, okay. So he goes into his room and he starts panicking. Also, I like Plag's line of, doesn't your father know how to make anything other than pancakes? But then Gabriel talks to Marinette, and basically he's telling Marinette that you have two options. You can have a future with my son, or you can completely give up on your fashion career, because I can make it. I can give you your fashion career. All you have to do is ask, and I will help you to be super successful in this field. But that means you're not going to have Adrian in your life. You could have Adrian in your life, but that's going to mean giving up all of your dreams. Which, you know, freaks Marinette out at first, but then she, you know, as she's about to be escorted out, she runs up to Adrian's room, gives him a hug, and tells him, "I will never abandon you." And then she walks out with a very confident look on her face, and then she stops. And so she goes on about this. She continues this analogy that Gabriel was mentioning about how, you know, he gives her this like really bland looking pancake, and he shows her all these condiment options, and he's like, you can have your pancake with all these other toppings, and you can have everything that you want. Just tell me how you like your pancakes and I'll make it happen. Just this whole analogy for how he can make her fashion career super successful if she gives up Adrian. And she tells, and she's like, oh, but fashion is about listening to people. He's like, no, fashion is about telling people what they want and making them think that that's what they want. And she continues the analogy and is like, I don't even need to taste your pancakes to know how bland they are, because you're using this super outdated recipe that nobody eats anymore. Nobody likes them. They're tasteless. And I can tell without even tasting them because I'm a baker's daughter. And she basically she's telling him that, you know, his way of thinking is outdated, and just telling him off. And he's just got this super shocked look on his face. And she walks out with this confident look on her face, and then as soon as she is out of sight, she just collapses. Her anxiety finally gets the best of her, and I'm like, yes, thank you. Oh my goodness, like, my anxiety was going, seeing her talking to him like this, because I was just getting flashbacks of when I was a kid, when my mother would yell at me for stuff, and I was just so afraid of her that I would stand there, like, as she would describe it, like a deer in headlights. I could not say anything to her. I just stood there and took it. And seeing Marinette going off on this toxic parent like this just made my heart sing. Like, I was so happy about that. And this scene gives courage to kids who have toxic parents. And I absolutely loved this scene. This scene was amazing. Oh yeah, speaking of scenes, I do want to go back to the very beginning, because I missed something. Marinette was saying, oh, your father just thinks that I'm this, you know, crazy fangirl who knits you presents and stalks you around. And Kagami's like, that was you. I'm like, thank you, Kagami. And then she's like, yeah, but I've changed. I've learned from that. I know not to do that anymore. And she's like, yeah, you have. You have definitely improved. And I'm like, yes, that's what I was saying earlier. She is improved. She is not the same crazy stalker that she was when I made that video 2 years ago. That is now the most watched video on my channel. And I can't monetize it. But, yeah, I really do need to make a follow-up video about that. But, yeah, like, she really, they mention how far she's come, and it's like, yeah, yes, she has come so far, and I am so proud of her development. Oh my goodness, and this is just like a big victory for me over those people that were like, oh, but Marinette's already fine the way she is. If she didn't have these flaws, then she'd be a boring character. It's like, I don't want her to be flawless, but I do want her to recognize that the behavior that she's been exhibiting is wrong, it's gross, it's toxic, and learn from that so that she can stop doing those behaviors. Because she does have other flaws that make her interesting. She doesn't need to have this gross behavior about her in order to make her interesting. But now she has grown, she has learned from her mistakes, and she knows now that she can't do those things. This Marinette that we are seeing now would not steal Adrian's phone. She would not sniff Adrian's pillow. She would not go around his room and touching his things. And I love this Marinette. This Marinette right here is the Marinette I've been hoping for, and I'm so glad about her. I just wanted to say that I am so proud of her development. I'm proud of her. I'm proud of her. But yeah, she freaks out after telling Gabriel off. It's like, what have I done? And Tiki even tells her later, no, you were right. I'm so proud of you. I'm like, I agree, Tiki. I'm proud of her too. But then we get to Kagami talking with her mother. Sorry, Leo is trying to eat my keyboard cable. Naughty kitty. But we get Kagami talking with her mother, and Kagami was inspired by Marinette's determination to finally talk to her mother and say, listen, you know, I need you to stop trying to dictate my emotions. You know, trying to follow your heart is not a weakness, and you know, this is something that I decided for myself. I'm not doing this because I'm just falling victim to their feelings. I'm doing this because this is what my heart tells me to do. And Tomoe is just putting her down, and Argon comes in, and he overhears Tomoe telling her this stuff, and he gets mad. So he breaks through the sunroof and steals Kagami away. And apparently he's been stalking her. So he's kind of turned into like season 1 Marinettes for a little bit. But Kagami is able to say, well, is able to recognize that he's a little bit like her, and that he doesn't have these he doesn't know how to express himself emotionally. He doesn't have these social he doesn't know anything about social interaction to be able to know that it was wrong of him to follow her around. But he's like, I've been following you, ever since that we talked at the dance. I can't stop thinking about you. I've been following you to learn more about you. And she's like, so you've been stalking me. You can't be doing that. But she realizes that he's like her. He doesn't know how to express himself emotionally, and that makes her kind of start to relate to him. But Tomoe then lets Gabriel know that Felix is back, and she has him akumatize her. Oh yeah, earlier when she was talking to Gabriel too. Sorry for jumping around the episode so much. But earlier she was he told her that he finally found his little scouter thing, which something's gonna this doesn't make any sense. So he gave her the scouter. I don't know what the actual term is, but it functions like a scouter. I'm calling it a scouter. He gives her the thumbnail scanner, the scouter, whatever it is. He gives her the scouter, and it's like, Felix left us behind. And then when Tomoe gets akumatized, like, she puts on extra alliances so that she can get extra powers, and he gives her the power of sublimation so that she can give herself any power that she wants, and she gives herself the power to track scents. And this is the part that doesn't make any sense. So she tracks the power, she tracks the scent of a feather that fell off of his fan, so that she could track him. And then when he de-transforms in front of Kagami to talk to her, and also to show her that he's not a threat, because she threatened to hit him with a chair, go Kagami! She's like, I'm not your damsel in distress. But so he de-transforms to show her that he's not a threat, which makes the feather disappear, and so she can't track him through that. But then she pulls out the scouter and starts tracking him through that, and it's like, excuse me, that is not how scents work. It's been a couple of months. Like, they've even said it's been a couple of months since the season 4 finale. So, and then not only that, but in that time period, first Adrian picked it up, so now it's got Adrian's scent on it, and then Gabriel picked it up and has been holding it this entire time, that thing is going to smell more like Gabriel than it will like Felix. So that is some, yeah, that is some bull shark right there. There is no way you could, there's no way you define that smell off of there. Like I was saying when watching the episode that, it would make more sense to track the owner of the object, because it would be, oh, you're tracking the owner of the feather. You're tracking the owner of the scouter. And they've been so inconsistent with the weapons too, because when he detransforms, the feather disappears. So as he is Felix, the feather is gone and she has to track him through the scouter. And later on, she, oh my gosh, this whole thing is, okay, so she gets transformed, she's following them, trying to get Kagami back, he transforms again, Ladybug and Cat Noir appear to try and save Kagami from both of them, you know, they fight. Cat Noir realizes that, you know, he's kind of trapped, so he uses Cataclysm to escape, and this whole thing is so contrived. He drops his stick, which he has never done. He drops his stick, which wasn't even out. It just somehow falls off of his back, and she's able to use that to track him. And even though Argo's feather disappeared when he detransformed, somehow when Adrian detransformed, his stick did not vanish, because later on we see him come out of the we see him come out of hiding after he's detransformed as Adrian, and then he transforms again into Cat Noir, and it's then when he transforms into Cat Noir that his stick disappears. And it's just back to the whole thing from Strike Back, where when Ladybug detransformed back into Marinette to try and stop Shadow Moth from stealing the rest of the Miraculous out of her yo-yo isn't shown to disappear until she transforms back into Ladybug, which in and itself is a continuity error, because back in Heroes Day, when they were going to track Hawkmoth with his stick, or with his cane, because he snuck off, as soon as he detransforms back into Gabriel, his stick is gone, or his cane is gone. So we've got Hawkmoth detransforming, and his cane is gone. His cane disappears when he detransforms to Gabriel. Ladybug detransforms to Marinette, and her yo-yo is still out, and doesn't disappear until she transforms back as Ladybug. Argo detransforms into Felix, and the feather from his weapon that fell off, it disappears as soon as he goes back to Felix. But when Cat Noir detransforms in the exact same episode, his stick is still there while he is Adrian and doesn't disappear till he transforms again as Cat Noir. Figure out your continuity, Zag! This is the exact same episode. You can't, like, it's one thing to have different content, to retcon something 2 seasons later in a completely different episode, and it's another thing to contradict your continuity in the exact same episode. Figure out how this works. It makes more sense for the weapons to disappear when they detransform back to civilian form. That makes sense, because the weapons disappear with the costumes. Why is it that when the Butterfly and Peacock Miraculous are no longer transformed, their weapons disappear, but when the Ladybug and Black Cat the Miraculous holders detransform, their weapons are still around? What the heck? Why? Because it's been established in other episodes that if Ladybug detransforms before she has a chance to use her lucky charm to fix everything with the magic ladybugs, then her lucky charm will disappear with her costume, and she can't fix anything. So why? Why is this suddenly a thing? Fix your continuity. It honestly wouldn't even make a difference if their weapons detransformed with their costumes. because they could just say that Gabriel got all the miraculous before she detransformed. They could just say that they could show the stick disappearing as soon as Cat Noir detransformed. It's not that hard. It takes the same amount of time. Why? Continuity director, do your job. Anyways, so Cat Noir, transforms again, and he finds Felix and Kagami in the sewers, because Felix actually had this really clever idea. After he transforms back into Argo, and he breaks his weapon and then leaves pieces of it in different places to distract Ikari Gozen. I know her name is different in this episode, but I can't remember it. I'm just calling her Ikari Gozen because she's basically Ikari Gozen with a horse, but with like riding a horse for some reason. Yeah, he distracts her with that, and then they go to the sewer, and he leaves a pocket watch behind so that there's another scent for her to follow. And then he detransforms to talk to Kagami, and that's when Ladybug and Cat Noir find them. And they're about to confront Felix, and Kagami is like, no, you're wrong about him, and I was too. It's like, aww, Feligami. Like, I ship it. Oh my gosh, they did a really good job of making me ship them in just one episode. Like, their conversation with her realizing that, they actually do have some things in common, and him saying he hasn't stopped thinking about her. It's like, and now her sticking up for him and being like, yeah, we were all wrong about him, and the smile that she gives him, like, oh my goodness, I ship it. I ship it so hard. Because he was even saying earlier, even after they started running away, that, he's not here to return Kagami to her mother. He's here to free her from her. And even later, Kagami questioned why he doesn't just create a Sentimonster to get her off their trail. And he specifically says that he doesn't like the way that the Peacock Miraculous works. He doesn't like the idea of creating a Sentimonster that has its own feelings and emotions just to tell it what to do and to control it and then make it disappear when he's done with it. It's like, yeah, that goes back to what Ladybug was saying back in the episode Ladybug, about how the Peacock's power can be very cruel when misused. It's like, yeah, it is. And it's just further hints towards the possibility of Felix being a Sentimonster. Like, he identifies with the Sentimonsters because he is one. If it turns out that he is not a Sentimonster, I will be completely okay with that. I just want to make that clear. If anyone is a senti being, I would want it to be Felix. I would be okay if nobody's a senti being. But if he is, it makes so much sense for his character. It really does. And then, so yeah, they talk in the sewers, and then Ikari Gozen finds them, and Ladybug and Cat Noir protect both of them, and Ladybug is like, we're gonna have to put our trust in Felix, and then she gives Kagami her lucky charm, which we don't even see her summon this episode, and her lucky charm is the scissors. She gives them to Kagami, so that she can cut the bowstring, because Ikari's weapon this time is not a sword, it's a bow, so she can shoot out the power of the bee. And that was another thing that got to Kagami earlier, was that when she found Kagami and Argo, they were hiding, and Ikari Gozen was about to shoot her, Kagami, with the bee power, and Kagami was like, oh my gosh, if she's trying to save me from you, why did she attack me just now? And Felix has this line, like, oh my gosh, I want to know about his father now. He says, oh, that's nothing. You never met my father. He was worse. what was going on with his father? That's what I want to know. But, yeah, then Kagami does, she snips the bowstring, they de-transform Tomoe, they give her another magical charm, which is pointless because she's on Monarch's side, and also those things don't work for people who aren't in league with Monarch. And then Tomoe calls Gabriel to gripe about how their plan was perfect, and Gabriel basically rubs all the salt in her wound, saying, "You don't have control over your daughter. She is also being controlled by her own emotions." And when Kagami gets in the car with her mother, oh my gosh, I feel so bad for Kagami in this scene. She's like, "To follow one's heart is not a weakness." And Tomoe is like, "You are weak. You're controlled by your feelings. And you are no longer my heir." And she takes the ring back from her with the crest of their family and calls her a disappointment. Like, oh my gosh, that hits home so hard. Like, again, that's not to the level that my mother was, but my mother was still, constantly putting me down, belittling me. If I had something that I wanted to do, she was constantly telling me I couldn't do it. And, just comparing me to my brother and sister who did get better grades and were more athletic. Now we know that the reason I wasn't athletic as a kid is because of my foot being deformed. But we didn't know that when I was a kid, and it's just the constant put downs and everything that definitely hurt my self-esteem when I was a kid. And it wasn't until I was already an adult that people saw those effects, and they helped to build me back up and give me the courage to be able to ask for help when need be. Because it was between her belittling me and treating me like I was always a burden on people, and my dad trying to give me courage and saying, you can be independent. I believe in your independence. I know you can do these things. It was so bad for my self-confidence, just those two together. My dad did everything he could to try and lift me up, but my mom treating me like I was a burden all the time just destroyed my self-confidence. And it wasn't until I became an adult that other people were able to see that influence on me and help me to see that just because I ask somebody for help doesn't mean I'm a burden on them. Sorry for getting so real when I'm trying to review this episode, but this really did hit home so hard for me. Seeing the way Gabriel and Tomoe treat their kids is just, And I hope that other kids who are in similar situations are able to get the same message and gain strength from this. I really do. I hope this is able to give kids strength, kids who do have emotionally abusive parents like this. I hope this is able to give them the strength that they need to confront their parents and say, "Listen, you need to stop treating me like I am worthless. You need to stop disrespecting me. You need to start acknowledging the fact that I have feelings and that my feelings are valid." I hope, even if this is coming across to people who are already technically adults but still running away from their parents, making them feel like that, I hope this is able to give them some courage. I've already fixed everything with my mom. She is much better. She is far less toxic than she used to be. We have a much better relationship, far healthier now. So please don't sound off in the comments about how my mom's a terrible mother or anything, because she's a lot better now. We've had her heart to heart and everything, and she knows not to do any of that stuff now. But for people who are still in that situation, I hope you get that courage that you need. Anyways, so we still got 3 more scenes to get through. So we cut to Adrian having dinner with Gabriel and Natalie, and Gabriel just being manipulative again. He's like, he just gives Adrian the smile, like, "I understand why you like that Marinette so much. She is strong, she is confident, she is talented. I hope you cherish all those memories that you have with her, and remember her fondly when you're in London next year." And Adrian looks like he is about to yell at Gabriel, and finally, like, just like, but he calms down and is like, I need to be excused. I'm not hungry anymore. And he goes to his room, very upset. And Gabriel just gives Natalie this smug look of, well, who's gonna stop me? And it's like, oh my gosh, you are an awful, awful human being. Because Natalie was like, you can't do this, like, who's gonna stop me? And Adrian then calls up Marinette, but he doesn't tell her that he's being sent to London. He just says, I wish I had your courage. And he sounds like he's saying goodbye, and she's like, is something wrong? And then he smiles at her, he's like, no, everything's fine. It's like, no, of course not. And then she's like, oh, okay, well, have a good night, Adrian. And then Flag is just like, of course not. Yes, everything is wrong. How are you gonna be Cat Noir if you're in London? And what about Marinette? You guys can't be together. And just, Adrian's just so defeated, but he's like, I don't know, but hopefully we could figure something out. It's like, oh, it's the end of the season, can't come too soon. My gosh, this is the end. Oh my goodness. Adrian needs to be freed of his father as soon as possible. Then we get a scene of Kagami and Felix at the theater. They meet up in secret. Kagami's mother thinks that she's in some class. I couldn't understand what they were going at, because they didn't say fencing, but they meet up. And they're, Ikebana class. I'm guessing that's some sort of Japanese thing. But Felix then gives her another ring that has her family symbol on it, and tells her that the ring her mother gave her was fake, and this is the real ring. And it's a really sweet moment and everything. And I don't know if this is a fake or not, but Felix basically tells her that, the rules of her family no longer have to be those created by her ancestors, because Kagami is the future of her family. And from now on, her choices are hers to make. And then they end the episode holding hands, and it's really sweet. It's like, oh, Feelagami. They're just, yes. I mean, I assume she's not going to be wearing the ring around her mother. Then again, her mother's blind, so her mother wouldn't even notice that she's still wearing the ring. So she wouldn't even know, like, where did she get that ring from? I don't know if this is a fake or not, because we did see before that, he was, when he in the episode Gabriel Agrest, he tried to give Gabriel back his ring, and then Gabriel recognized it immediately as being fake. And so it's like, he clearly had this forgery created initially, and he even told Gabriel, it's like, I had a fake made, and that's gonna be what I show my mother, but here, you can have this ring back. It's like, the ring that he gave Gabriel was the fake. Yeah, so, I don't know if this ring that he gave Kagami was a fake or not, but if it's not, then I want to know how he got a hold of it. I really do. But that is the end of the episode, and yeah, I've pretty much said what I wanted to say. If you are somebody who has a parent that is like this, try to have a heart-to-heart with them if you think you can. Read the situation. If your parent is one of those, like, totally abusive parents that does not care about you, and, like, if they're, like, a physically abusive parent, then don't put yourself in danger if you feel like you would be in danger talking to them that way. But if you are at that point where you can get out of that situation, do your best to get out as soon as possible, because you are better than that. You do not deserve to be treated the way they treat you. If they may have told you that you deserve this, or they and made you think like you're worthless, or like you have aren't worth helping, or that you're a burden. Those are common manipulative tactics. If your parents are doing that to you, please seek help. Talk to your teachers, talk to your counselors, and especially if it's really bad, if you think they will listen to you and that you can have that heart-to-heart, try to have that heart-to-heart. But if you think that you are in danger if you try to talk to them like that, then talk to your counselors, because that is not a good situation for anybody to be in. I do hope that you all stay safe out there, especially if you are in a situation like that. Please be safe, please take care of yourself, and remember that you are worth it. You are worth just as much as everybody else on this planet, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe for more videos from me. We do all sorts of fun stuff on this channel, including playing video games, we do art, and also sometimes talk about cartoons and anime. So if you enjoy this stuff, then be sure to ring that bell icon to never miss a video. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I hope you all have a very magical day.